What up? What up? Hello, hello, my justice warriors. It's been a minute. I missed you guys. Um, so I went ahead and came on, even though I'm not quite sure about the lighting. This side might need a little bump of brightness. I'm not sure. Let me know. Am I making it worse? Am I making it better? Give people a minute to get in here. Oh, it's so nice to be on live. I think it's been 4 days. I've been doing a lot and thinking a lot and watching a lot. Josh sees, what up? How are you? We have been having massive storms here in Ohio. So hopefully we won't lose the connection. I think the last time I was live, I lost the connection, but then it came back. So what have you been up to? What cases have you been watching? Do you watch cases or are you just more the political commentary stuff? Because I'm all into the political commentary, except for that I'm so effing sick of it. Oh man, what a joke. Now it's the grass is greener syndrome. And the private diapering and catering company run by Natalie Harp. Okay, but anyway, what's more important is Nolan Wells, whose birthday is today. He would have been 19 today on the 19th. It's so sad. But some good news, some really good news is that in the Carmelo Anthony case, which I don't even know that I've mentioned that case on my channel. I've only just started paying more attention to it. They had a huge win today with getting a new judge on the case. Carmelo Anthony is the 17-year-old boy who unalived another 17-year-old boy. I think that's their ages. Austin Metcalf, I think was the guy's name. He was an identical twin. And it was at a track meet in Texas. I think it was this April. I think it was just like 4 months ago. And he was already found guilty and sentenced to 35 years, but it really looks like it was solid self-defense. But he's black and the deceased is white, and the judge was all sort of uncool, unfair, biased. So they got a new judge today. Tomorrow they'll see if they get a new trial. And then if they get a new trial, they can at least, at the very most, hopefully get him off on a manslaughter charge. But really, he should be, I think, exonerated with the self-defense. I think there's solid evidence of that. The whole thing is on videotape, the whole thing. It's insanity. It's total insanity. But anyway, that was a huge case in the Carmelo Anthony case in Texas that is also being represented by Benjamin Crump, the same lawyer and team that's representing the Nolan Wells family. So there's a ton of catching up to do with you guys. Anna Bees, what up? So nice to see you. Happy heavenly birthday, Nolan. I know it's so sad. So I haven't come on live for a few days. Like I said, I've been really busy, but I've also just been really contemplative over the whole thing. And, I really wanted to come on last night, to talk about his birthday being today. And I had to come on today with his birthday being today. But yeah, I've been crazy busy. My daughter's soccer has just started up. So she had a game last night. She has a game tomorrow night. But I need to get down with my peeps. So thanks so much for being here, you guys. Hit the like button. Jazz, I was in Illinois visiting family past 2 weeks. Got back to Central New York at 3 a.m. So I'm still tired. I hate traveling. Actually, I love it when I get into it. But I'm a homebody these days. Billy, what up? My girl, I've missed you, honey. How are you? Billy, darling, Anna, Jazzy, Josh. Now we're having a party, you guys. This is a serious party. Oh, I'm so excited you guys are all here. This is awesome. So I'll do the regular stuff to get my brain in gear. Hit that like button. I think you can see it even. Make sure you're still subscribed. A lot of people have been getting unsubscribed. A lot of channels, including mine, have been getting weird YouTube, shadow banning tweaks. I think because of the Nolan Wells case, honestly. Sorry for the bra straps. I know you guys don't care, but I do. So share a video of mine with somebody that you think would like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And yeah, I hope I'm not too scantily clad. It's really hot, and I have a fan on, so I might get cold. But yeah, like I said, I hope I'm not too scantily clad. I've got my hair under control. I got my hat from Trish, my 4786. That guy is such a freaking clown. Such a freaking clown. Going on and on about grass today. I just can't with him. So yeah, it is a breath of fresh air just to deep dive into a true crime case. And the case in Nolan Wells is so important for so many reasons. And his family and his legal team are begging content creators to stay on it. Big and small content creators, stay on it because it's important. And they cannot stop the tsunami. It's like a George Floyd 2.0, but it's bigger, I think. It's like Rodney King. It's like, I don't want to say OJ Simpson, but, sort of, kind of. I mean, race is part of it. It's huge. And, oh, man, there's just so much to cover. Let me stay caught up with my people. And I have my Invisalign off. My teeth are a little sore because I've been so diligent about wearing it like 24/7, and it's so annoying. So I have it off so I can talk to you guys without whistling like a beaver in an old Disney cartoon movie with, grass between my teeth. It was so good. It was good to see family, but for F's sake, it can be exhausting. Traveling can be exhausting. Seeing family can be exhausting. It's not really a vacation, right? I mean, it's lovely to see family, but it's not really a vacation. Anna, darling. Yeah. We've missed you, Billy. Shit, I wasn't watching LOL. Oh, you missed the green grass droning on and on and on. And all he talks about is his drones. He's like fixated on drones, but I just can't with him. I just can't. And I can't believe that he's still the MF leader of our free world. And man, we got to tight fight to keep this a free world because he's a shitbag and he'll do everything he can to fuck us all over. I said it. Dropped the F-bomb. He's just a piece of crap, and he just wants to take everybody down. He's such a dark MF, such a freaking bastard. And it's all about those freaking Trumpstein files. And he's hosed, and he knows it. So I have my mouse over here, if you're wondering why my hand is over here. I have like a little table for my mouse. I got my cell phone. I got my notes. Missed you all too. Okay, so Nolan on the boat. Where to begin? So Nolan Wells, it sounds like the state of Mississippi, that damn DA, Angel McGillrath. I was practicing it today because it's not McIlrath. 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 I'm putting an extra. Anyway, I'm just going to say McIlrath because it fits. If the shoe fits, wear it. Because of the way she was acting so far in the Nolan Wells case. But it seems as though they're going to be looking at it as a criminal case, or that they are looking at it as a criminal case now, that they're looking at it like it's a homicide, which of course they should be, but we know they're going to do everything they can to protect these people. And I ain't no rage baiter, but it's looking more and more like straight up cult clan type of crap. Whether it is or it isn't, it sure looks like it. And I honestly, I mean, I could give you my opinion whether I think it is or not. I definitely think race has a lot to do with it. You know what? I do think it was a hate crime, simply because it was the 4th of July. And you guys know that photograph of everybody in the swimming pool at the pool party that Ben Crump reshared, reposted, and then got really criticized because people were like, oh, that wasn't the 4th of July. That was June 27th. Which maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It turns out, yeah, they did have a pool party on the 4th of July. There's one guy in that picture that has, let me see if I can just pull it up for you. He has 250 shaved into his chest hair. And you're not going to be shaving 250 into your chest hair a week before the 4th of July. I've been waiting to find out that picture is actually the 4th of July. And Nolan is in the picture. He's in the background. He's in the pool on the night of the 4th of July. So it can get very confusing, which is what they want. You know, they're trying to throw everybody off and off kilter. So here's the pool party. Let me see if I can blow it up for you guys. Nice and big. Where's the guy with the 250? You probably won't be able to see it so well in this picture, but I'll just reference the picture and then you can go see it. I'll try to post it on my community tab. So you guys know this picture, the pool party picture, and circled is Nolan, and some white guy has his arm around Nolan's neck. And I'm telling you, it reminds me so much of that kid that was kidnapped by Jesse James Hollywood and his gang, and then they hung out and went to pool parties while he was being kidnapped. So this guy is the one that has 250 shaved into his freaking chest hair, because you know that's attractive. Right? I can't even stand looking at him. I know. Or listening to his freaking voice. When is he just going to shut the F up? But you know how he gets really repetitive with a word? He just gets fixated. The word of today was drones. Just everything about drones. Like every fourth word was drones. The man is obsessed. Completely obsessed. In any person of color case, absolutely. And especially Mississippi, and especially the 4th of July, not the 250th, any 4th of July, but especially out there on Horn Island, especially. Yeah. It's looking really bad. Stupid question. How many other deceased partygoers have been found on the island this year or in general? Because I've tried looking that up, and I don't think it's a stupid question at all. I think it was Warren who said, yeah, people die out there all the time in one of his Tatum interviews. And I was like, really? Let me Google that. And no, people die out there, sure. I mean, it's an island, and it's 10 miles out, and people go back and forth drunk often. So, and they have little boats, and even in a sound, you know, the lay of the land, it's a gulf, and it's got those barrier islands, so the water's somewhat protected, but there's still like the part of it between Ship Island and Horn Island. They call it the washing machine because of the way the tides collide. So yeah, it can get gnarly out there, and I'm sure people have died out there, but it's not many, and there's not a tally on Google, so I don't know. But yeah, definitely it's happened before. I totally agree. Anna B says, oh, they got caught fibbing. They got caught so many times. Those race Tatum interviews, it's almost like he's a double agent and set them up to I mean, the more they talk, the worse it gets. I have gray chest hair now. Not a stupid question, Josh. I don't think anyone else. Yeah. The rich kids exploiting the younger, poor kids like Kylie, or a piece of crap like Nolan. What the actual F? I know, Billy, darling. And there's so many freaking parallels. There was a new one that came to me today, and I was taking notes the last few days. I got so many notes, but I can't remember if I wrote that one down. The new thing that, you know, I texted you, Anna Bees, about the red bracelet. Wasn't it red, one of the bracelets? You guys remember in the Kylie Rodney case, the bracelets that Scammy was wearing that looked like they came off of Kylie? I don't know if they did or not, but the bracelets and then the necklaces in this Nolan Wells case, the beaded necklace. And I mean, I know I made the parallel early on about Kylie's necklaces and the necklaces in the Nolan Wells case, just that both of them, there was a focus on necklaces. So many freaking similarities. But yeah, I was gonna play a part at the 17-minute mark, the no water in the lungs, because the no water in the lungs, let me see if I can cue this up real quick. No water in the lungs is what we know was the end result with Kylie, and then they said she drowned, and that's just effing crazy. We all know it is. We've always known it is. Let's see. So what was the name of that? It was on the Black Homicide Files. Let's see if I can find that. The Black Homicide Files video. Yep, here it is. And I'm going to play it at the 17-minute mark. This was a video that they dropped today. And, you know, it's an AI channel. It sounds like Jesse Weber, but they play a lot of the Umar Jackson and Dr. Umar Johnson, sorry. They play a lot of that. So even though it's AI and even though it sounds like Jesse Weber, I've watched a couple of their videos and I do find them interesting. But I'm queuing it up to the 17-minute mark, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you guys tell me what you think.
One of the paramedics said, what, Art? One of the paramedics who took Dr. King's brother out the pool, Art, said he didn't have no water in his lungs. The paramedic said he didn't have no water in his lungs, Art. And plus, A.D. King, just like Nolan, A.D. King, just like Nolan, was a great swimmer, Art. Was a great swimmer. They kept them lungs, I believe. They kept the lungs, Art, because they knew that those lungs would have provided evidence of the fact that Nolan may have been deceased before he hit that water. They kept the throat.
Kylie was deceased before she hit the water. I didn't realize this story. I'm going to play it again, going back to Martin Luther King Jr.'s brother. I did not know that history. I'm going to rewind it a little bit more.
Was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, was murdered before he hit that water. Remember, Art,
right.
Dr. King's
brother, I want to rewind it a little bit more. Let's see. I'll go to the 16-minute.
A.D. King. They found him in a swimming pool.
No. I'm trying to go to 16 and it went to 17. Okay.
Folded and drowning.
It did it again. It said it was. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it for a minute.
Or if Nolan died from drowning, if he don't have the throat tissue or the lung tissue, Art, how is he supposed to do his job? And y'all didn't send the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And nobody has explained yet whether or not the medical examiner in DC is ever going to get the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And I personally believe, Art, Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. I believe Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. And
I'm going to stop it there, even though I'm so curious what he says next. Maybe I'll play it in a second. Because we know that Kylie was deceased before she hit the water because there was no water in her lungs, and for a hell of a lot of other reasons too. So I'm going to also read the comments that I haven't read yet that you guys are commenting away, which is awesome. The rich kids exploiting the younger, and I need to highlight that one. I think that's right where I left off. The entitled unaliving our children, the entitled thinking only their lives matter. It's so awful. It's so disgusting. I can't. It says around 3 to 8 people a year, including fishermen, drunks, etc. Thank you, Billy darling. How come my AI wouldn't tell me? Probably because a lot of people are Googling it and they didn't want, I honestly think that a lot of the technology is being manipulated around the Nolan Wells case right now. Because AI is so woke. Remember Elon trying to make it less woke? What a freaking nut. These people and their jealousy of wokeness. Red necklace. Oh, the bracelets from Kylie's case. Still think it was a LOTF type of situation and friendly fights and left him on purpose. I am thinking that they took him on the boat. I think he was on that boat. And I think that he was still alive on that boat. We'll get into that. There's so much to cover. And a lot of my videos have been really long lately. And I was feeling bad about it, but I realized it's because this case. Like, I literally watched a 6-hour video today on this case, you guys. And it was completely worth every minute of it. 6 hours. So my videos have been like 3 hours. Over 2 hours, and I'm like, I try to keep them closer to an hour, 90 minutes, just for all of our sakes. But sometimes it's easy to keep them shorter, and sometimes it's impossible. So this case, I think, is just lending itself to longer videos. I'm going to try to have it not go on 3 hours tonight. So we'll shoot for like 90 minutes. We'll see what happens. But you guys can put your vote in if you care. The entitled thinking, okay, where did it go? Where was I? Red necklace, bracelets from Kylie's case. I don't know what the LOTF type of situation is. I don't know what that is. Should I Google? Or are you going to fill me in, Billy? Try to keep up with my brilliant chat. Let's see. LOTF. What does that mean? Oh, the Lord of the Flies. I knew that. Thank you. I still think it was a Lord of the Flies type of situation, friendly fights, and left him on purpose. So the Nolan Wells thing, I think that it was about race, and I think it was about a girl, and I think it was specifically some pissed off guy that doesn't get mentioned very much lately, and I don't think ever enough, who went back to Wyoming and said he was never in Mississippi, but that's not what he meant, his mama said. And his dad, Bart's dad, or Warren's dad, I think it's Bart's dad, that was placed on an administrative leave at work, because he's like he's in charge of the radiology department. And I'm pretty sure he's been put on an administrative leave. And I think he's freaking out because he knows he's going to get sued for millions of dollars, if for nothing else, for a wrongful death. Warren's dad, Wyatt's dad, and Bart's dad, because of the maritime laws, and they owned the boats and their sons were the ones driving them. And they're not going to say which boat Nolan was on, and they're trying to say he wasn't on any of them. And they have it on videotape. There's all those flock cameras everywhere, and there's witnesses. And then there's the hand coming up off the boat. in that brilliant little clip that Race Batum Tatum posted to prove that Nolan wasn't on the boat, and his hand flies up, or what looks like his hand flying up. Okay, Lord of the Flies. Oh, let's race to the rock or let's wrestle, etc. for sport. And they tricked Nolan. Well, it seems that there's evidence that there was a lot of tension with Nolan and I think Wyatt, but Nolan was kind of uneasy going out that day, I think. I mean, remember, Warren talks about getting breakfast on the morning of the 4th, even though Nolan was at the sleepover slumber party. He didn't go with them to get breakfast at McDonald's. So, what's up with that? And then the next morning, after they lost their friend, went to their pool party, and then watched a movie, when they woke up in the morning, they went out to the fucking Waffle House for breakfast on the 5th, allegedly. And you can even Google it. Google did not want to give up the information. Google kept saying, I don't know anything about it. And I finally got AI to cough up the facts. Oh, sick bastard. So, because unaliving people makes you really hungry. I mean, seriously, that's what everybody says. It gives you a voracious appetite, which makes sense because you're burning a lot of energy psychically as well as physically. You're doing a lot and your heart's racing and, how do you hide the remains? I mean, I'm kind of being tongue in cheek, but also in a situation like that, that's going to be your most stressful, pressing issue. Other than that you took someone's freaking life. But for creeps, that's exhilarating. They love it. They get off on it, especially if they're racist mofos. And this guy was like serious competition for the ladies and for attention. Nolan was very, very popular around town, just like I would imagine Kylie was too, not only because she was awesome, but also because of her singing, right? Okay. But yeah, they definitely tricked Nolan and they definitely stole his effing phone. That whole thing about, we don't steal people's phones. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't steal anyone's phone. They totally stole his phone. They totally stole his fucking phone from him. I agree there was a fight. Wasn't Texas Paul talking about how AI shit causes problems with evidence? I've been saying that for years now. I know, me too. And it's going to keep becoming more and more of a problem. Uh-oh, what did I do? Cancel. Hopefully I didn't do anything. But yeah, especially with this case, right from jump. So the photographs of Nolan, all snugly with these white boys are AI. I mean, there's one or two photos that they used for the rest of them. AI is a liar and psychopathic. Let me get caught up. I'm totally agree, Billy. Oh, just like Kylie. I know we miss our Kylie, don't we? Why does it jump like that? Okay, I was 20 and there were fights with the guys, not the girls much. Yes, definitely they were both deceased before they hit the water. Yeah, Nolan and Kylie, totally. If there's drinking and rugs, then there'll be fighting, I'm telling you. And there was. Apparently, Warren really likes the snow, the blow, the booga sugar. I'm going with my nitrous oxide mask theory. Well, I'm fascinated by that, especially because one of their dads is a dentist, and I forget which one now. But, a lot of these boys, we don't hear their names very often, and they're men. They're all over 18, but they all act like little mama's boys. So we don't hear Bart's name. We don't hear Wyatt's name. And we don't hear Eric so much. There was one that I wrote down today because I don't think I'd ever heard it. James. Who's James? And I think he has something to do with the blow. I think James has something to do with the blow. Maybe he was the one that was supplying it or something. Let's see. But yeah, I'm really curious about the nitrous oxide mask theory, especially if they already had him like pinned down, and then they could put that on him, and then they could keep him incapacitated to get him back to the mainland. Jazz, I have to add this at the end of the search. AI. AI. Yes, I agree with that. Always a fight with young men drinking in rugs. Type the minus sign, then AI after you search to avoid that much. Oh, I have to add this at the end of the search. The AI. Type the minus sign and then AI after search to avoid that. Wow, to avoid the anti-wokeness. AI muck. That's so funny, Josh. Yes. And then they'll pass out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like with Kylie, I always thought she got roofied. I wondered that early on with Nolan if he was roofied. Well, I preferred not to fight when I was young. Same, Billy says. I don't think they offed Kylie about a boy, but I am hearing you. Well, and I don't necessarily think that either, but I have always theorized that Scammy having the hots for Jägermeister and the Hamburglar, I actually have always had question marks around that. Absolutely. Just their hotness, their hottiness. Kylie had a lot to be jealous over, as did Nolan. And again, these children of families that are less affluent than the surrounding families. And I know from like when I lived in Malibu, that was definitely a thing. Like most of the kids at Malibu Park Junior High School were loaded. And they were very uncomfortable about the kids that weren't loaded, that were just awesome. It made them very uncomfortable because they all had like $200 outfits, and this is like back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Kids coming to school in $200 outfits, everybody getting dropped off in their Beamers and their Mercedes, and then the kids that didn't have the fancy outfits and the fancy cars were very, very threatening because they had character, right? Personalities and realness about them. They weren't dependent on the status, all that status. And yeah, if your dad's a doctor or a dentist, or your stepmom's a judge, or what the F ever. But let me stay caught up with you guys. Dentist son borrowed the nitrous for the party and passed Nolan with no oxygen. Gassed Nolan with no oxygen. You think that they were like playing with it, and then like they were all using it and Nolan was partaking, but then they intentionally did it wrong for him? Is that what you're floating, Josh? Over 63,000 children are reported missing in California each year. Kylie's party was definitely a Lord of the Flies party. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, scammy quote. Premeditated. It's a popular misconception. And then Warren talked about that type of thing too. He didn't use the exact same phrase, but so close. Like, that's a misconception that's popular or something. I mean, literally the same idea. Premeditated. Athletic scouts looking at Nolan. Yes. Nolan had already graduated high school in 2025. So he'd been at community college. He was doing very well on their football team. He was going back for his second year, starting the Monday after 4th of July. So the 4th of July was on a Saturday. And then he had Sunday. And then Monday morning, probably 7 or 8 a.m., he was doing a camp, like an athletic camp that was probably 8 hours a day for the whole week. And that was with his community college. And he was trying to advance to a 4-year college. So, yeah, exactly, Billy darling. Oh man, I keep doing that. I gotta stop with hitting the wrong buttons. You still here? Me still here. Okay, hopefully I didn't get banned. Oh, you didn't get banned? What? For having an idea? Me here? No. What do you mean? They both poor and talented and dead by sus. Well, and poor is relative. I mean, I think Kylie and Nolan, in the grand scheme of things, had, they were fairly well to do. They had all their needs met. I mean, they weren't wealthy by any stretch, but they, they live in nice areas. They had food on the table. They had their own cars. Kylie had her own car. Nolan had his own car. Yay, I'm still here. Yay, Josh. Enclosed spaces with nitrous and you suffocate. Oof. Well, and they could have put him in like the fish hatch thing in the boat. You guys have probably seen some photographs of that floating around. There's definitely that possibility. So I don't know if that's what you're thinking about when you say that, Billy darling. The enclosed spaces with nitrous and you suffocate. And yeah, Josh sees you're not banned, minus sign, then the letters AI, no spaces. Interesting. AI is anti-woke. I know, which is funny because its own algorithm was woke, way too woke for Elon and his daddy, Donnie Daddy. And so he manipulated it to make it anti-woke. When it's funny that the algorithm is just doing that on its own because it's not woke, it's just normal. Like they call normal woke, in my opinion, because they want to be freaking NAZIS. Why would you be banned? Josh says, exactly, Billy. I used to do nitrous with a friend cleaning out a dentist's office after hours when I was that age. Oh, crazy. Free access. Isn't that insanity? And a jazz hit a button. LOL. Oh, sorry. No, I don't think it was a ban button. It was just like with the mouse, I did right click instead of left click, and I was afraid I lost the stream. And I did it again a second ago with Billy too. Whipped cream cartridges, LOL. Oh, I'm kind of slow sometimes. Yep. In comparison to the kids that killed them. Right. Definitely poor in comparison to the kids that killed them. But yeah, middle class, upper middle class. But yeah, they probably felt poor living in those communities. I mean, Tahoe area, anybody's going to feel poor, even the wealthy probably, because everything's so expensive. But I guess Ocean Springs is like the fanciest, most wealthy part of Mississippi, heavily tied in with TPUSA, and the Koch brothers, KOCH, the Koch brothers. There's a lot of connections to, obviously, because Warren's dad and stepmom organized a PR campaign with Race Batum Tatum. So, those kinds of connections. And I'm glad they did, because I think it's hurting them a lot. And I think it's dragging Race Batum Tatum, and he needs to be dragged. He's dragging himself, and he's dragging them. I bet they had a nitrous tank from the dentist's office and bought a mask. Ooh, Josh, you could be right on the money. And see, that would, even if they stole it from the dentist's office, the dentist would probably get in a ton of trouble for allowing that, basically, right? I mean, just like if you're the owner of a motorcycle and somebody touches it when it's parked and they hurt themselves, you're responsible because it's your bike. I mean, that's what we're dealing with the whole Nolan Wells case and Wyatt, Warren, and Bart, is that they all were manning boats. Wyatt had 2 boats out there, or Warren had 2 boats out there. There's a 4th boat. So you had Bart's boat that he was driving, which belongs to his parents. And then you had Wyatt, who was driving a boat that belonged to his parents. Then you had Warren driving a boat that belonged to his parents. And then I think Warren's family with another boat that maybe his little brother Carter was driving it. Carter's the one who got the broken nose. And then what is the other guy? Morgan? Morgan is the one that was in the interviews with Jax and Warren, I think. It's so hard to keep track of all these freaking names, and I don't want to look at my notes, but I will in a second. I'm just trying to stay caught up. Okay. And then the alcohol. So whoever supplied the alcohol, which I think there's like videotape of Warren's stepmom handing out beers on the boat. So that's great. I mean, a parent handing out beers on a boat to underage kids. So, or underage adults, young adults. And then the drunk while manning a boat, that's really bad too. So, they're covering it up. Yeah. I'm going to type this again. They are making you skip for me again. See, Annabes, I'm telling you, it's because, and I didn't even hashtag Nolan Wells in the title like I usually do. When I say that, they usually stop this. Balloons aren't going to be X. Balloons, they borrowed it from the dentist. Nitrous wouldn't show up in toxicology. Right. Absolutely, Josh. That's 100%. Smells like guilt to me. Look for balloons and pictures from that day. Yeah, I haven't seen any. But the criminal liability and the civil liability for the boat owners, once they can determine which boat Nolan was on. And he was on one of those boats going back. He was definitely on one of those boats going back, in my opinion. And I think that was him laying on the deck of the boat when his hand flailed up. So I was going to read to you maybe something off of Wikipedia, the navigation and responsibility for conduct, violence, drinking. So whoever's manning the boat, the captain, whoever is driving the boat is responsible for the navigation, the conduct of everyone on board, keeping people from being violent, responsible for everybody's drinking, responsible for everybody's behavior, responsible for a reckless operation, and they can be sued for negligence. So all 3 of these families know that they are going to lose everything. No matter how it shakes out, they're going to lose everything, in my opinion, because of that. So I was going to look that up and read the Wikipedia. So this is my prediction that I want to like put it out there so that I can be wrong. Like I'm superstitious like that because I keep thinking it and I'm like, oh, that would be the worst, but would be typical in a situation like this. If it turns out like a Brian Laundrie situation where somebody is, let's say Warren, Wyatt, Bart, any of them, Jax, any of them, unalive self, right? So it looks like a self unaliving, but they leave a manifesto behind and confess in the manifesto to taking Nolan's life. That would be like a Brian Laundrie. And then the whole case will just wrap up nice and clean. So who's going to be the one that they sacrifice? I would say Tristan, right? Which I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that nobody else passes away, and I hope that they don't just try to keep effing everything up. But of course they will, because they can't take accountability, right? Let's see if I can look this up correctly. The navigation and responsibility for conduct on a boat for a captain. Let me just read what Wikipedia says about sea captain. A sea captain, ship captain, captain, master, shipmaster is a high-grade licensed mariner who holds ultimate command and responsibility of a merchant vessel. Well, no, we don't want merchant vessel. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. Let's try that again. Maybe just read you the AI overview. A boat captain holds total legal responsibility for the safety of the vessel, its passengers, and its crew. The captain must navigate safely, obey all maritime rules, and maintain order at all times. There are the navigation duties of planning the route, checking the weather, tides, and charts before you leave, steering the boat, guiding the vessel safely through all waters, avoiding crashes, watching out for other boats, rocks, and shallow areas, use equipment, monitor the compass, GPS, and depth finders. Responsibility and conduct. Protect people, first and foremost. Keep all passengers and crew safe from harm. Follow the law. Obey local, national, and international water rules. Stay sober. Never drink alcohol or use drugs while in command. Handle emergencies. Lead the response during fires, storms, or man overboard events. These are all things that happen, and you need to be prepared. Make final calls. Decide when it is safe to sail or when to turn back. Yep. Very, very interesting. Okay, let me set that down. What did I knock down? Just a little holder thing for the phone. Let me use this one. Okay, staying caught up. I hope that he gets justice. No search without AI by typing AI at end. Oh, no search. I didn't do it, did I? Search without AI by typing AI at the end. Let me try it again. Thanks, Billy. We were just talking about that. See, I tell you, when I'm live, I'm like, is it Dora, the character on Finding Nemo? The one played by Ellen DeGeneres. Okay. Let me try that again. Again. Come on. It's not cooperating. I'm doing that minus AI. Let's see if it comes up different. Oh, it does. But it's, do I have a space before the minus AI? Because yeah, it's talking about, I think I need to have a space. It's talking about all the maritime AI stuff. You know, like the A1 sauce in the educational system. Remember that, when that idiot woman went on for like an hour or two talking about A1 in the classroom? That was great. Um, let's see. I still need to do my boater safety certification course for New York. I've been boating safely for like 40 years. LOL. That's awesome, Josh. Do you have your own boat? It says I already pinned that message, but I didn't read it. So minus sign, then letters A and I. No spaces in between. I did that. Okay, cool. Blah, blah, blah. AI. Okay. So, let's see. So, you guys are familiar with that whole CATOZ distress call, right? And then the background noise from the CATOZ distress call. But even without the background noise, the CATOZ distress call is really, really bad. And there's many reasons that it's really, really bad, because it just doesn't make sense. The things that Wyatt's saying don't make sense, and the way he's responding to the questions don't make sense. And then it especially doesn't make sense at the very end when, is it Vicky? Is that the name of the dispatcher? And then Seth is the towing captain that she calls. His name is Seth. So Vicky then calls Seth. She puts Wyatt on hold, and she gives Seth the rundown and says, you know, this referral and the thing about the membership and that being in question. And then Seth says basically, you know, I just got off the phone with the kid's grandpa. And then Vicky's like, Jerry? And he's like, yeah, Jerry. Just got off the phone with him. And he said that they don't need any help. And it didn't make sense. It was like, this is what I want to tell you. Jerry Atkinson, that's his name. That's Grandpa's name. First of all, I think that Jerry Atkinson was out at Horn Island, Grandpa. He was the general manager for a boat company called Ocean Marine. And he knew very well the owner of the CATOZ company and his son, Seth. He knows them very well. So he was calling Seth on a back line simultaneous while Wyatt is calling this, what I have always thought was a fake distress call, what I always thought was just an alibi. And then Wyatt's phone call was too long with Vicky, and Jerry called Seth too quick. So for it to be on the recorded line is just perfection. That Seth says, I just got off the phone with Jerry, and he says they're fine, they don't need a tow, right? And then the dispatcher is very confused. And then I think she patches Wyatt through to Seth anyway. But that was a big giveaway. Why is the grandfather calling the CATOZ company to cancel the call? before it's even complete. It makes them look really, really guilty. So the Dixie Mafia in Biloxi, that was a thing up until I think 1987, and they red rummed a judge, and then they got busted. The Dixie Mafia in Biloxi, but the clan down there has rebranded themselves. I think after that, because of that, so they're better at pulling their crap. Yeah. So this is a funny one about Caroline with the KKK. That when the Trumpster fire says whoever it is this time, Caroline, is being basically sent to spend more time with their family, that's the equivalent of walking the plank. It's the equivalent of being like sent to the out to pasture, basically. They're going to spend more time with their family. But check this out, you guys. I had this thought while I was listening to a video yesterday that COVID back in 2020 saved us from having the Trumpster fire win that election at fall of 2020. And then, we got Biden inaugurated in January of 2021. COVID saved us from the succession of two Trumpster fire terms in a row that I think would have been the end of our democracy. I think right now we would be in so much worse shape because, he would have already nailed everything down so that it was an autocracy. And did I say that right? Autocracy. Doesn't come out so well. It's a terrible word. I don't even want to say it. I just want to take it out of my mouth. But yeah, we know that he would have completely demolished democracy by now. So we do still have a chance, I think, of preserving our democracy, but it is really, really bleak and dangerous. And I don't think any of us can relax about it. I think we need to stay on our toes. We don't want to get flat-footed, so to speak. We want to be at the ready to keep fighting for our democracy. Oh my God, did the Tupac trial start on Monday? I think it did. Let me ask the AI without AI. But that one, it should just give me a straight answer, right? Did the Tupac Shakur murder trial start this week? After 31 years or 30 years? Yes. The long-awaited red rum trial of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, former gang leader, accused of orchestrating the 1996 drive-by shooting, officially started earlier this week in Vegas with opening statements beginning Monday, August 17th. So yeah, he confessed to it, but then he retracted his confession. Like Koberger, right? I don't know what's going on with that case. If anybody feels like dropping anything in the chat, feel free. But yeah, that case is just pure effery. Pure effery. So yeah, I never thought about COVID having saved us from that. I mean, I guess I did see it as sabotaging his chances of winning the 2020 election, but I never realized how much it saved us, I guess, until yesterday when I thought, man, if he won, if we had the two Trumpster Fire admin 4 years back to back, it would be over. Over, I tell ya. And then we'd have like Dunn Jr. and all his descendants being like the royal family for all of eternity. It would be like that evil show, the Game of Thrones. I mean, it already is, right? Let's see. I haven't had the time or money to run powered vessel here past few years since the law went into effect. What woman went on and on about a... What woman went on and on about a... I'm not sure what you mean by that, Annabise. One. Oh, A1. It was the woman who's the Secretary of Education. She's an idiot. She owns like the World Wrestling Federation. I'm glad you asked. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. She's a complete moron. Secretary of Education. Linda McMahon. That's who. She's just so dim-witted. And so she did this like 1 or 2 hour presentation, I think it was about 6 months ago, where she droned on and on and on for an entire presentation about A1. She was talking about AI in the classrooms. Nobody stopped her and corrected her. It was funny AF. So multiple adults unalived this young man, and now they all are covering it up. So, I'm back to my lynch mob thing. And it might be I think that if it was like let's say like a sacrifice celebration for the what shall I call them? The sick freaks, the supremacists of whiteness. It just makes me want to cry. Just the freaking thought is so disgusting. It's so gross. And I don't think I've actually cried a tear for Nolan, but I've felt like it a few times, and I'm really feeling like it right now. Again, it's his birthday. What time is it? For just like another minute? 2 more minutes. It's his birthday. So maybe, and not to like have dead space airtime on my video, but maybe just a moment of silence would be appropriate here, seeing out the day of his birthday. Let's do that. Really like a vigil, like a candlelight vigil. It just flipped to 12 right as I said that. Wow. Poor Nolan. And so, let me talk for a moment about that thing when I was in my car and it was this thing. Let's see. This clip that I had the phone in, and I had it like attached to the visor, and it was set pretty solid. I had done a video like that the day before. It didn't rattle, it didn't fall. And then that day when I was doing it, coming back from Columbus. And I said something, I was talking specifically about how and when, I was kind of theorizing about how and when Nolan might have lost his life. And this is what I think. And I'm not sure how I was articulating it at that moment, but I think it's kind of the same. Maybe it's evolved a little bit. I think that what happened was it was a beatdown and that he was very compromised all the way into shore. I think he was still alive. And then I think that they actually hung him. I do. I believe that that's why they went into the bayou. That they at least went in there to get him off the boat. But there's a tree at that bayou, up in that bayou, that has benches surrounding it with no explanation other than what my imagination jumps to. And it was when I said something about him getting beaten and kind of not being quite unalived. That was when the phone first fell, I think. And we can play it again. And then a minute and a half later, when I said something about lynching, it fell again. And I didn't even realize when I said that word that technically a lynching doesn't have to involve an actual hanging. That it is a lynch mob is what defines a lynching. So I definitely think he was, in that sense, that L word. But I think that he literally was too. But when the phone fell, and it wasn't until I rewatched the video that I thought, wow, that's like very distinct moments that it fell twice. And I got like goosebumps thinking that it could have been let's just say the spirit doing that, kind of coming through the veil, so to speak. And that's a little out there. That's a little wild to think like that. But then I was actually in Columbus today again, and I was driving home, and I thought Columbus is a big city, and I'm just one little person. We're in a big country. There's hundreds of millions of us here. And I just have this tiny little YouTube channel. But I do have, I think, a strong spirit. You guys probably think so too, or you might not be watching me. And I think I have some kind of kindred spirit with Nolan. Like I really identify with him, just like I really identified with Kylie. And you know what I thought of is I thought, man, I was like that. Kids were really jealous of me growing up and when I was a teenager. And I was picturing just in the last few days people that I knew that were jealous of me that would have harmed me if they had a chance. And I never really thought about it like that because I just avoided those people. Like there was one in particular when I went off to college. She was dating this guy who I thought was hot, and then when she dumped him, I scooped him up. And then, of course, she hated me. I mean, she already hated me. We didn't get along. I hated her, but I liked her ex-boyfriend, and then I ran into her years later in Portland, Oregon, when I was married. And, I thought, okay, we're grown up now. We can get past that. So I socialized with her and her sister, me and my husband. And it was really the wrong thing to do because that chick, and I'm just going to tell you guys her name because it's funny as fuck. Her name was Biffy. Literally the only person I've ever known in my life named Biffy, Biffy. And she was a rich little bitch from Bowling Green, Ohio. I don't remember what her dad did for work, but he was probably a doctor or something like that. And she was an absolute spoiled brat, and she had nothing going for her. She was horrible personality. I mean, she was pretty, except that she was one of those people like Scammy that, she was such an ugly person that it just ruined her any appeal that she had. And when I scooped up her ex-boyfriend, she was trying to get him back, and she went to talk to him one day while he was working at the record store, and she was like, he told me about it. It was so funny. This was at college at Miami University. She bought a bagel with provolone cheese melted in it across the street from his record store, came over to try to woo him and talk him into breaking up with me and getting back together with her, while she proceeded to shove Tootsie Rolls into her warm bagel with provolone cheese. Shove Tootsie Rolls into the freaking cheese bagel and eat it in front of him while she's trying to persuade him. I mean, he already couldn't stand her. I mean, he obviously liked her when he was with her, but when she dumped him, he was so like blindsided that he was just like, screw her. Like, he never wanted anything to do with her anyway. And then, he was really happy with me, and for her to come in and shove Tootsie Rolls into a bagel. Anyway, Biffy the Vampire Slayer, no, that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When her and her sister and me and my husband were hanging out together, it was really uncomfortable. And she's one that I definitely think would have pulled a Scammy or like this Nolan type of situation. And I hope she's watching this. Biffy, F off, you psycho. Anyway, where were we? Don't you like hearing a little bit about my private life? My very, very personal life? Okay, what have I missed? I'm sorry. Per boating. Okay, I read that one, or maybe I didn't. I think I did. Per boating, I have an old boat. No, I didn't. I deemed unsafe next to my garage that I used to go fish big finger lakes with. Oh, that sounds so pretty, and love upstate New York. I wonder where Nancy Guthrie is. I know, Billy. Oh, it's so terrible. What did they do with her? I still think the Trumpster fire was behind it 100%. Not just payback for Savannah, but to scare all the other reporters. He's so insane. He's a serial unaliver. Then I got a boat from a COVID victim, and I don't have the right receipt. Oh, somebody who passed away from it? I'm doing it again. Hitting the right button. Okay. I restored the F out of this boat. It's 90% there in goddamn paperwork and time and money. I know boats are a lot. Absolutely. Yes, it did, Annabees. If he had just listened to the professionals at the time, everything would have went better and less people would have passed. Oh my God. And then the way they're trying to take it out on Anthony Fauci is so insane. It's such a gaslighting to the extreme. And then in my state, they're trying to take it out on Amy Acton, who's running for governor. And she's awesome. She was awesome during COVID, and she will make an awesome governor. And she'll probably win, even though she's on the Democrat ticket. Oh my God, Vivek Ramaswamy. This guy is like a billionaire F-wad. He's like a Kash Patel. He's like a white supremacist that's Indian, from India. He's a sick piece of crap. Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't even know his name. I think Amy Acton will win, but our current governor, who I have mixed feelings about, Mike DeWine, he is a diehard Republican, and he is rooting for Amy Acton. So, and I think, he's finally like stood up to the Trumpster fire with this whole thing with the Haitians, because our governor DeWine, actually, it was like his family's like personal project to help all these Haitian refugees in the name of his daughter, who passed away in a car crash decades ago. So I think her name was her name Rebecca, I think? Rebecca DeWine? I might be getting the name wrong. But he named a nonprofit that his family ran in Haiti after her. And then it was through that he recruited a bunch of Haitians to Springfield to revive the economy, which it did. It successfully revived a horrible economy. And then he has not stood up to the Trumpster fire until now, because they're really putting the screws to the Haitians now. And he's also come out and publicly vouched for the Democrat that's running for his office. So I got to give him that, right? I mean, people in my state were upset with him during the election that he wasn't standing up against the Trumpster fire. He was upset with them about all the Haitian stuff, but he would say, but I still think that the Republican policies are the best. But now he's not even saying that. So finally, if only he would have spoke out around the election. Not that I think it was a free and fair election, you know that. Yes, it did. Anna B says, if he had just listened to the professionals at the time, yeah. That's hilarious about Linda McMahon. Oh my God. It was really funny. Yeah, you could Google and look that up. Going on and on about A1. And then it was just like all of us were just joking about her and her A1 sauce. Nancy Guthrie, gone, deceased on February 1st, holiday. And her daughter, SNL, Wiccan, Sus, the huge in debt. Yeah, I know there's a lot of theory about that, and it seems plausible, but I think it was, you know what I think. But, I think that same thing about Nick Reiner. I think that he was like MK Ultra'd by the MAGA to do what he did. And maybe there's something like that with the with Savannah Guthrie's sister and her brother-in-law. I don't know. But I know I've heard those theories, and I know some people really believe that. I don't know. I think to me, it's abundantly clear that the Trumpster fire had everything to do with it. And then for Tim Miller on Bulwark to allude to thinking the same thing really cemented it for me, because I had already thought that for so many reasons. Speaking of ritual offings, I'm sticking with my dentist gas theory. What Billy says, I'm not sure what that is in response to. Annie and Tommaso were Wiccan. Oh, yes, Anna. OMG, there were and crazy stuff with ex-prisoners and hooligans and the splinter coop. So OFC Nancy was very, very Christian. Is that so? Of course. I was in Berkeley today. Ooh, I love Berkeley. Love it. The Splinter Co-op Artists, etc. space, also rehabs, ex-cons. So Annie used that space. Interesting. Writes in the Guthrie fam sus. Riffs in the Guthrie fam sus. Funny face giggles emoji. Funny face giggles emoji. I don't know if you spelled it out or the computer did that for you. That's interesting, Billy. LOL Jazz. LOL me. That's really weird. It says LOL Jazz on this one when the hand is over it, and then when the hand's not over it, it says LOL me. Why would it switch like that? So right now it says LOL Jazz because I have the finger on your comment. And then when I slide it down to the next comment, it says LOL me. That I've never seen it do anything like that. Okay. I wrote LOL Jazz and it came out different. So that is so bizarre. Now some are saying Annie is biological sibling. Rivalry is probably what you meant, like sibling rivalry. Well, yeah, I mean, Savannah's like very tall and slender and pretty and famous and wealthy. Is not biological sibling. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they don't look alike at all. Wow, Billy, very interesting. Was she adopted or just different, like step siblings or what? Yeah, and they have been diving into public records about the liens and mortgages on both houses in the trust. Oh, interesting. But see, they could also be trying to pin it on them if the Trumpster fire's behind it. See, that's what we got to look out for, Billy. That's what we got to look out for. Isn't weird that my comment above was changed. You probably meant, isn't it weird? Right? Isn't weird. Oh, I see it. It got a funny drawing or something before your words. Yeah. I don't know what that little zigzag thing is. Maybe it means that it changed it. Yes, it does, and I didn't type that. Maybe it's Nolan. Maybe it's haunted because I was talking about that Nolan stuff. That was maybe at the same time, right? And I'm going to play you that part of the video again and see what you think. Wouldn't Donnie be bragging? Maybe he forgot. Well, he did brag a little bit on the airplane, Billy. A few days after she went missing, he was on Air Force One, and he was asked by reporters about it, and he said, we've got things going on behind the scenes. You'd be amazed. You probably thought I wasn't doing anything, but we're going to have it solved. Do you remember that? And then I don't think he ever said another peep about it again. I don't think he ever tweeted about her, did he? If he did, it would have been something probably similar to what he tweeted about Rob Reiner or Robert Mueller, right? Sick bastard. He could have forgot. He forgot to brag. Absolutely. Hey, forgot. Yes, it changed on its own and had that symbol. I've seen that symbol before, and I've never had a clue what it was. Yes, distant fam or adopted. I'm just saying there is money involved, and the people that need the money are directly involved in the Nancy case. Right, but it could be both, Billy. It literally could be both. Like you could be right and I could be right at the exact same time. So that's what I'm going to go with, because I think you're really smart and you're focused on the case, and I'm really smart and sometimes not. And I was focused on the case, but I haven't been for a long time because I think it's so much effery, and I think it's just crushing, absolutely crushing. Because, I mean, Nancy just reminds us all of our own mothers, doesn't she? Yeah, what the F? That Guthrie thing dropped off the radar. Oh, it's nasty. Okay, so let me play that part of the video before I forget and see if we all just think I'm nuts because of my questions about it. Let's go to my channel. I think I know exactly which video it is, because it was like 3 of them in a row. And it's the first one of the 3, because it's 18 minutes long. And I want to say that it was like at the 16-minute mark, 17-minute mark. Didn't I put it in the, here, let me play it.
This is what happened.
Because I think I put it in the description. Let's see if I did. Or no, I put it not in the description, but maybe in the comments. But maybe it wasn't this one. Maybe it was one of the others. Okay, it must be one of the others. Let me see real quick. Was it the third one? I didn't do it in the third one. Maybe I didn't put it in there. I thought I did. To tell you guys. No. I don't think that's it. No, it was. Those were the three when I was coming back from Cincinnati. And it was like the day before. Let me see if it's this one. Because I could swear that I put it in the description. Yeah, okay. The 27, 20 minute mark. So it's the 20-minute video. What did I just say the timestamp was? 20-minute video. That's not possible. It's not that one. It's this one. 31-minute video. Was Nolan Wells being gang stalked? And it's from 14 days ago. And the minute marker is 27:20, if you guys can remember that long enough for me to get to it. Let me see that video. Things went haywire when they were... Okay, 27:20. I'm going to take it to 27. That they had the whole thing planned, the sleepover. Okay, yeah, here we go. The whole thing planned with the sleepover. Let's just play it right here. I'm at 27:13. Getting him out there to the island, isolating him, getting him away from his phone, away from his friends. And then, back in the bayou, See, as soon as I said bayou is when it fell. The second I said bayou. And then I pick it back up, and then a minute later it drops when I say lynch, I think. Let's check it out. Sorry, you guys. Let me see if I can put this back up. I'm going to have to just wrap it up. Don't do that, gravity. Don't mess with me. Okay, I'm going to kind of hold on to it. I'll wrap it up, too. Because I might be losing my signal anyway because of the area that I'm driving through. So back at the bayou, there's a bunch of permanent benches around a tree that's completely inexplicable. And I'm thinking that they might have taken him there and lynched him, and that's part of why it took 36 hours for his remains to be found. I don't know, and I hope not. But I'm kind of wondering if the plan was to lynch him, but then things went haywire when they were at the island, and he fought back, and they overreacted and snapped his neck there, but then took him and did the ritual anyway. I hope not.
You apply castor oil consistently for 1 month straight. Here's what you can expect from a pharmacist who specializes in holistic.
I hope I'm... Okay, it just fell. But it's frustrating with that ad coming in right then. And it seems like the ads come in at really crucial times in these Nolan Wells videos. It really does. And almost all category states are ranked on the ritual anyway. I hope not. I hope I'm completely in. So when I said I hope not is when it fell again. So I think it's interesting. It seems that there were communications or texts, and so I think communications that can be supported by evidence, but this is not supported by evidence yet. So let me be clear. But it seems that there's evidence that Nolan, I mentioned this earlier in this video, that he was feeling uncomfortable with the group and that there was tension. And I'm wondering if he was picking up a vibe. And I don't know. We've been on for 90 minutes, so maybe we should think about wrapping up shortly. Let's see. Yeah, Savannah's been back on TV. Let's see. Yeah, what the F? Nancy Guthrie thing dropped off the radar. That is new info to me, and it puts Annie and Tommaso in the middle of it. Savannah is active in cover up. Oh, no way. That's crazy. Savannah's my girl. She wouldn't do that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Has Savannah been on TV still? So yeah, she went back to work after like a month of it. And I thought that was bizarre. I didn't think she'd ever go back. I thought this was the Trumpster fire sabotaging her career. I didn't think she could ever go back or would ever go back. It seemed like a hostage kind of thing that she went back, in my opinion. Well, if your sis was involved, you'd have to cover it up, especially if you help pay her house, was paying her money to look after Nancy. I remember 16 something. Oh, the timestamp. This scandal would ruin her career, but I guess we will have to wait and see. I hate this timeline. I know it's so insane trying to keep up with everything that's going on. It's really out of control. It's just like forest fires everywhere and floods, right? Flash floods, forest fires. I mean, we're having flash floods here in Ohio today. And now I hear the thunder. There's part of Ohio, not where I am, but part where it got 5 inches of rain today. So there's probably going to be catastrophic lives lost. I hope not, but all these like 1,000-year storms just so happen while the Trumpster fire is in office. I don't know. I mean, it could just be the whole global warming effect, right? Not necessarily the Jewish laser beams. Not necessarily. Let's see. Yeah, Anna, this new info is wild and so sad. This timeline is sad. WTF. It's been a while since I heard anything about Guthrie. They tried to extort her sister, in my opinion. It's very sad. Well, so some things that happened right before the disappearance. Obviously, the day before the disappearance was when the 3 million e-files were dropped. So that was like January 30th, and then she disappeared the 31st. But the Savannah had just gotten back to work that Monday of that week. I think that happened like on a Saturday. But I can't remember what day of the week it was. I guess I could look. Where's my phone so I can be more accurate? Just look at the calendar. January 31st was a Saturday. Ha, I was right. I love it when I'm right. So she went back to work on January 26th, on Monday, I think. So she'd been at work, Savannah Guthrie. She'd been off on a medical leave for about a month because she had a nodule on her vocal cord that had to be removed, and she wasn't able to speak. And the type of nodule that she had on her vocal cord can be caused by environmental poison. So she literally lost her voice. But one of the last things she did before she took the medical leave, the time off, was in December of 2025. I want to say it was like December 6th or something like that, maybe the 9th. She facilitated a debate or discussion with two governors at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. on Wisconsin Avenue, right across the street from the house where I lived when I was 5. And that debate, the two governors were Governor Cox from Utah and Shapiro from Pennsylvania. So Shapiro is Democrat. Obviously, he was considered one of the candidates for the vice president with Kamala's ticket. And then remember, his house was freaking firebombed, right? And all those people that could have been injured. I think he had like 25 family members spending the night. And then Cox, governor of Utah, was the governor where Charlie was eliminated. And he's obviously a Republican. And so the two of them were debating about political violence early December. So it was one of the last things Savannah did before she took the time off for her vocal cords for the surgery. And I might be missing something in her timeline from the debate or the conversation that she facilitated at the National Cathedral. But I found it stunning. Also, we have to keep in mind that she had done so much with Trumpstein victims, and especially with Virginia Giuffre. She had done a whole documentary with Giuffre that Virginia wrote about in her book, that the day before it was supposed to be released, I think it was 60 Minutes, that it got canceled because Trumpster fire. And Virginia was devastated. I think it did eventually air, but that brings me to Hayden Panettiere, you guys. So sad. The 36-year-old child actress that just passed away in South Carolina with her on and off again boyfriend, who's been arrested 3 times for domestic violence towards her. And him and his brother were the 2 people that were in her company when she passed away. And they're trying to make it sound like she overdosed, and maybe they did overdose her. I don't know. The domestic violence thing and the on and off again, we all know it's the most dangerous time in a woman's relationship when she's trying to get out of that relationship. And even her mother, who had abandoned her, like, they didn't really have a relationship. Even her mother has spoken out that Hayden was trying desperately to get rid of this guy that just wouldn't let her go. And yeah. So Hayden Panettiere wrote a tell-all book that was released in May. And I watched a very awesome 2.5-hour interview with her that I'll put a link to in the description, when she released the book. And it's a tell-all, and it's a lot of sad stuff. And it's kind of outing a lot of abuse, specifically talking about when she was 18 years old and she was on a yacht, and a woman that she trusted put her in bed with a much older famous man who was naked. And this woman put her in the bed, and she flipped out. She didn't say who the woman was or who the man was, but I've watched some videos that say it's abundantly clear that it's this woman that was on a reality, maybe Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like that. And then the guy, the guy they said was, I think it was Sloan that said this, if you guys are familiar with Sloan. The guy is a musician, and he's a British musician, and I looked him up. Let's see. I think he sings that song, You're Beautiful. Who sings the song You're Beautiful? James Blunt. Allegedly, it was James Blunt. So that solves that mystery. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Hayden and just how sad it is. I never really followed her career very much, but it's also extremely bizarre that her and Michelle, probably won't say her last name right, Tritchler, who played Harriet the Spy, which was one of my favorite movies, watching it with my kids. Michelle Tritchler and Hayden co-starred in Ice Princess, and Michelle passed away less than a year ago, and I'm pretty sure it was the same way, alleged overdose. I don't believe in coincidence. Do not believe in coincidence, but it makes me think of that thing that the coroner said about Trinity Backus in the medical examiner's report, was that there was nothing suspicious about her death. And I'm like, other than her death, other than a 16-year-old being deceased, which is suspicious, nothing suspicious about her death. So I just think everything's suspicious about both Michelle and Hayden's, and especially when you couple them together. And again, with child stars and just how tragic that is, and how with the casting couch, I don't think there's an age limit on the casting couch. I hate to say that. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Let's talk about happy things. Happy thoughts. Let's go to Bob Ross. Paint some happy trees. Let's see. Yeah, who doesn't search for their own mother? Well, who doesn't search for their own daughter, Billy? Talking about Kylie. And then Nolan's friends, like, not searching for him when they were, like, out getting breakfast. Sick freaks. Let's see. Download an ad blocker. Oh, Billy, I didn't know you could do that. Thank you. You can just download one? That's crazy that I didn't know that. Like, why didn't my daughter tell me that? I can't imagine not searching for my mom. Yeah. Kylie's mom didn't search either. Exactly. We're on the same wavelength, all of us. So let's get caught up. Very true. Yeah, the behaviors of the folks involved are so bizarre. And I see a pattern. Not searching, asking public for help, then disappearing, refusing organized searches. So I think Wyatt has disappeared in the Nolan Wells case, and it would make sense why he's disappeared. I'm going to bet that he's moved to a country that doesn't extradite. And Bart, man, I'm telling you, these families are going to go bankrupt regardless of what the DA does. Even if the DA just freaking whitewashes all of it, which is, I'm sure, what their goal and hope is. I don't know if they'll get away with it, but they could. Theoretically, they could try anyway. I don't think it would last. I think too many people will be clapping back on that. But let's just say that it all gets whitewashed. The people captaining their parents' boats, their families will go bankrupt. It doesn't matter how rich they are. The Wells Wansley family will get it all. Let's see. Anywho, I'm trying to figure out how to tell my wife that it's okay to calm down without using those words. Josh, you're funny. What are you talking about? Like about the politics or what? It's opined they went to Italy. Which are you might be talking about the Guthrie daughter and her husband? It could be he's Satan. Josh, LOL. Yeah, Josh, don't say calm down. Don't say anything, I guess. Hold her hand and put your head on her shoulder, Josh. Aw. And just say everything's going to be all right. Josh massaged her neck and feet. I'd say feet. I assume he was asking for advice. Yes, and done all that. Chocolate. Chocolate is the answer to everything, right? Also, what's happening because I might be upset. Accept reality, relax, re-examine. Draw her a hot bath and make a tub side snack for your wife, Josh. And go watch TV. That is so cute. Billy, I love that. I love taking baths, and a bath with a snack sounds delightful. Add a glass of something. Yes. No, just hold her hand, tell her to breathe, and focus on something while breathing. I say get her a puppy. OMG, I'm romantic. Anna knows what to do. You are romantic, Billy. It does sound romantic. Oh, you guys are cute. Snack in the bath is very romantic, yes. I did that for my ex, Mr. Darling, with a whiskey drink, and he was so thrilled. With candles years ago. My mammy is too stressed to relax, part on a mission, part menopause. On a mission for what, Josh? If you want to share, please do. That's very nice, Billy. We went to this fancy hotel in Kansas, just across the state line, and I made us a bubble bath, and we had chocolate-covered strawberries. Oh my God, those are the best. And hubby was watching boxing. Sounds like heaven for somebody who loves boxing, huh? Oh, it was our 25th anniversary. Yeah, so the other thing with Hayden Pantier, if you guys are probably familiar, is that she has a daughter who's like 11 now, that her fighting champion ex-husband from Ukraine has full custody of. So she signed over full custody when the little girl was like 4, but it sounds like she was threatened, basically. Almost like she had a firearm to her head. Literal or more metaphorical, or both. Oh, it was our 25th anniversary. Oh, Anna Bees, that's so sweet. OMG, you don't know about ad blocker for browsers? My sweet lady, no, I'm really dumb. Did I say I was smart earlier? I was wishful thinking. And we just had our 25th. Oh, yeah, we just had our like 34th, I think. We got together in 90 and we got married in 92. So yeah, we just had our 34th. Isn't that nuts? Congratulations, Josh. That's awesome. Yes. Okay, so let me look at my notes and see what else needs to be mentioned before wrapping up. Well, the whole thing, we haven't mentioned Tasia Fortune, which I know you guys have brought her up in my lives, and she's the woman that was found hanging behind an abandoned house on Remembrance Road, I think was the name of the road, something like that, in Jackson, Mississippi, 29-year-old black mother of 4. I had mistakenly said mother of 2. Maybe she has 2 little kids and 2 not little kids. But she's adorable. She was adorable. And it sounds like some serious effery with her. And I hope that they can get to the bottom of it. And then there's the Daniel Irving case. He was a champion swimmer who drowned in Texas. Drowned. But I think he did drown, but I think he was probably pushed under the water. He went swimming with 2 friends, air quotes. And then he was missing. They destroyed all the evidence. They threw away his cell phone and his clothes and everything. And they helped search, but then like 4 days into it, they confessed. But I don't think he was found for like a month or something. I don't think it was that long ago. Let me see what it says here, looking it up. But the thing with the Nolan Wells case is it should be helpful for Daniel Irving's case, because the 2 boys that he was with, they got like arrested and tried for destruction of the evidence, but nothing else. And that's just bullshit. Like, you're not going to do that because you panic that your friend drowned. Like, that's absolute bullshit. Daniel Irving. Texas drowning. "18-year-old honor student high school swimmer Daniel Irving tragically drowned in Lake Ray Hubbard near Dallas, Texas. This was only 4 months ago, April of 26. An autopsy ruled the death an accidental drowning. 2 teens who were with him faced evidence tampering charges for fleeing, hiding his belongings, and failing to call 911. See, the failing to call 911, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. The case is bullshit. His family continues to push for further investigation and more severe charges. He was with 2 other teenagers and a 19-year-old. Oh, wait. No, the 2 other teenagers were a 19-year-old and one under 18. So the 19-year-old, I mean, both should be tried as adults. But the fact that he was 18, 19, and then the other guy was probably like 17. I don't know. So they don't say the juvenile's name. They just say the 19-year-old's name, Lucas Roper. The drowning, authorities state that the teens jumped into the water from a bridge. Daniel reportedly called out for help once before disappearing under the water. Bullcrap. His body was recovered 4 days later. Actions after the drowning. Instead of calling 911 or notifying authorities, the 2 accompanying teens fled the scene. They discarded Daniel's clothes and cell phone and deleted text messages from their phones. Investigation and autopsy. Yeah, that really needs to get readdressed. That's complete bullcrap. And he's a really good-looking kid. He looks a lot like Ahmaud Arbery. I could swear they're like doppelgangers. That's him, Daniel Irving. Nice-looking lad. What a smile. Here's a picture of him with his mommy. Oh, very sad. You can see him and his mama. So it's been really interesting hearing more from, I always say his name wrong. Javon. Am I saying it wrong still? Javon's mother, who is the one who retrieved the telephone from Nolan's not friends. And the last time I was on live, we were talking about how there were a bunch of Nolan's friends that had gathered outside of Jax's house. And it sounded like those people were already there before Javon's mother got there to get the phone. But then, there was the whole, basically like these mobs of Nolan's actual friends who were demanding to get Warren's, the address of where Warren's boat was. They were outside of Jax's house taking pictures of every license plate of every car that was there. And it sounded like the reason that they showed up was not only because of the posts that Nolan's mother had put up about him missing, but also because they all had that Snapchat app where they could see where Nolan's phone was, maybe, but they could see where like everybody was hanging out, basically. And so that was how those kids all ended up going over there. And then the funniest part of that whole story that they finally spilled on the Race Batum Tatum third interview was Warren calling 911. Was it Warren or Wyatt? I think it was Warren who called 911 to say, the angry mob is going over to my mommy and daddy's house and they're home alone and they don't know anything about this. So that's what he said to the 911 operator. I can't remember if we've heard the message or if that is just his account of it. I think that's just his account of it. He's like, I called them and said, my mom and dad are there alone. Like it's just bizarre. So bizarre. But it was Warren who had two boats. One of those boats might not have been out on the water that day. So it might have been Wyatt who had the two boats that were on the water that day. But he gave them the address of the boat that wasn't out on the water that day, I think. But it is just really interesting hearing actual interviews with, I think her name is Tasia, Javon's mother. I can't say his name right for the life of me. The actual friend, the good friend. Wait, no, Tasia is this person. Fortune. What is Nolan's mom's friend's name? The one that helped get the phone. Let me see. I think I put a picture of her and Nolan in my thumbnail. And then there's the chick in the butt floss bikini in my thumbnail. We don't need to talk about her, but all of the girls that were there aren't ever talked about. Let's see. What is Javon's mom's name in the Nolan Wells case? Christine Wells Wansley's best friend who retrieved Nolan's phone. It doesn't say. You know how AI likes to fight with you and not give you the information because I'm not doing the thing that that I'm supposed to do, the AI thing. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it right now. except it's not letting me. Christine Wansley's best friend, who went to get Nolan Wells's phone from Jax's house. And then I'm going to do space dash AI send. Is it still hiding her name? Javon's mother, it says here. It just says Javon's mother. What is her name? What is Javon's mother's name? She's done a lot of interviews. Tashima Hans. And she's very pretty, Tashima. Anyway, sorry, I got it confused with Tasia. Tashima. And oh my God, that was so gross when the boys were interviewing with Tatum and they were like doing all that stuff where they were saying basically exactly what they did. But they were like, why do people think that we killed our friend and that we like had him down on the floor of the boat, like scrambling around, and we're like, we couldn't do that. Like, why are you saying these things? Like, you're kind of saying exactly what seems to be happening, scrambling around in the background. He's about to die. Those were Jax's words, I think. And then he tried to say still that he was good friends with Nolan, but Elmer, when he recounts going over there to get the car keys, he recounts introducing himself to Jax as Nolan's father. And then when Jax is recounting the story to Race Batum Tatum, he says that he introduced himself as Nolan's father, but he's Nolan's stepfather. Like, he wants to point that out. And he might not be Nolan's biological father, but it sounds like he probably adopted him if he's not the biological father, but he's fathered him. And the family considers him the dad. Whether he's biological dad or not is kind of irrelevant. But Bart's lawyer said this horrible thing, you guys. You might not have caught it because I don't think you guys watch as much Nolan content as I do, but you probably watch some and maybe you've caught it. When Bart's lawyer is talking about these friends, and he says something about a confederacy of friends on boats going out to celebrate the 4th of July. Using that word confederacy brings to my mind the reason I put that little bitch Ashley Cole in my thumbnail is because right behind her head is the effing Confederate flag, in case you've missed it in this case. A picture of her on the internet has the Confederate flag like right behind her noggin. It's gross. Absolutely gross. So we've been on for 2 hours. We should probably wrap up. I still have more notes. Oh, Patricia! Trisha's here. Sorry. Let's see. Origins is a decent ad blocker. I will write that down. Origins ad blocker. Oh, I will love it. I hate the freaking ads. They drive me nuts. I thought I had to pay for something to not have them. I thought it was like $35 a month, and I'm like, that's ridiculous to keep up with. Anna, we just had our 25th. Okay. Rest in peace, Tasia. Oh, thank you, Billy. And the DA ruled her passing as self-inflicted. Thank you, Anna Bees. Yeah, Tasia. How do you say her last name? Fontaine, something like that. And that would be the same DA McIlrath. Tasia Fortune. Tasia Fortune or Fortune. One of those. Same DA as in Nolan's case. Yeah. Angel Myers McIlrath. Or McIlrath is how I have been saying it, but I think I'm enunciating it, putting too much emphasis on the kill because it seems suited. I would think somebody who lost a little baby girl to cancer, was that 9 years ago, would have a bigger heart and treat life. Life is precious, and people losing their kids is just unthinkable, no matter what the reasoning, no matter what the, accident, disease, self, misadventure, homicide. Homicide's the worst. Homicide is the worst. It's awful to lose somebody to any of those things, even old age. But homicide is absolutely the worst. Having known people that have passed away from all those things, it's worse than a self-unaliving, because just to think that some rando can take the life of your loved one is disgusting, especially intentionally. It's one thing if it's unintentional, like a drunk driver, right? But just the vile, horrid, unthinkable monstrosity of an individual that would do that. I mean, that's what we talk about here in True Crime Land, but it is insane to think about somebody actually taking someone's life in real life. It's one thing to theorize about it or see it in the movies or what have you. I mean, it's even hard for me to wrap my mind around it with the situation that I was in with my freaking dad and the carbon monoxide poisoning. I mean, it is a mind F just to think about any of this crap. And it's soul crushing. So yeah, sometimes you got to give yourself a break. So that was part of, being really busy the last few days, wanting just to let the case settle in my psyche, and yeah, just taking my time. I love doing my channel so much. I don't want to stress out about it. And when I'm too busy with all the other stuff in life. But I also want to remind people, thank you so much for your contributions when you're buying jewelry or your memberships or anything like that is so freaking helpful. Trish, I got your Cash App payment yesterday, and there were a couple other Cash App payments in there that I didn't even know were there. So it was like awesome, totally awesome. And I just really appreciate you guys watching and being here to converse with. And I was thinking maybe we should do like a night where we do like a group therapy kind of thing. I don't know. It's just an idea that I had today. I haven't I like to sleep on things. I like to hatch my ideas. I just thought of it today. I thought, how can we do that ethically as a psychotherapist? Because, this is my group therapy, but I would love to offer something real specific if there's an interest. So I'm just kicking the idea out there that's half baked at this point. Let's see. Where are we? How much I miss? How long have you been on? We've been on forever. 2 hours, my dear. And your comment was 15 minutes ago. Sorry, it took me so long to catch up. Ahmad was very good looking. Yeah. Nolan was extremely handsome. And that guy I told you about, a local guy, John Crawford III, he was extremely handsome. It's always the handsome ones. Only the good die young. Remember that? Where am I in the comments? She's been on for over 90 minutes. I was drunk by a chimina after filleting fish in Illinois last time you were live. I love it. That's so funny, Josh. I used to party hardy. I don't anymore. I mean, I'm just like high off of life all the time, basically. I'm going to be in Chicago in 6 days. I love Chicago, my dear. And that's where, so I think I told you guys in my last live about this channel that I've been loving called The Classic Codes. OMG, this guy is rocking. He's a musician and he lives in Chicago, and he's covering the Nolan Wells case, but I think most of his channel is music. He does like a lot of relationship stuff too. So I haven't delved into his channel more than the Nolan Wells coverage, but he's in Chicago and he's rocking. He's been one of my favorites lately. The Classic Codes. Is it Classic Code or Classic Codes? I forget. Let me see. I was going to play a little bit of him maybe just so you can hear him. He's way cool. He the coolest. Let's see. It's Codes, the Classic Codes. Here, I'll just play a second right where I left off on his last video.
My lips are so full, no filler.
Wait a
My
second.
upper lip is literally curling up.
Shut up. Shut up.
Saying we are sinking. The grandfather was on the phone with the captain saying, do not go out there. And they already had a tow. So all of these things will have to be answered for because all of these things are verified via the CTO phone call.
Did you hear that gong
if,
in the background?
If, allegedly, if any of these, well, the CTO call is what it is. But if, what I'm about to say, allegedly, if any of that has anything to do with why Nolan Xavier Wells is no longer with us, you're going to have to fight for your freedom. You're going to have to fight for your freedom.
If it was because she heard something or if there was something else we're missing allegedly, I don't know. But those are the things, guys, that if you're going to raise awareness on these things.
Okay. And then Teslin Figaro is the one talking right after that. I watched a really good interview of that therapist, Connie, Mr. Connie, with Teslin Figaro. What is the therapist's name?
I'm pointing to which you need to be making in the comment closing argument.
Let's see. Connie. Psychotherapist. Let's see. Elliot Connie. He's so good. So Elliot Connie interviewed let's see. Was it live? I think it was live. Yeah. Interview with Teslin Super Ghetto Figaro. It was a really good interview, you guys. I'll put a link to that in the description. Teslin Super Ghetto Figaro. Anywho, let me catch up and maybe sign off since we're 2 hours and 15 minutes. Love you guys. You're the best. What's what is the thing you're supposed to do for AI? So I just like speak into my Google bar, I get the voice activator on, and then it goes to AI mode, but then there's a different AI mode. And then Billy was giving us advice when you're Googling something to then, after the thing that you're Googling, make a space and then a dash AI. So all three together without spaces, the dash and the A and the I, and that you'll get a better result. So, yeah, let's see what happened. Why is there always a person named Jack in every case? Well, and this one is funny because it's Jax, Jax, but it's Jack's son. And yeah, isn't he the one whose parents are both pharmacists and they own a pharmacy? Oh, okay. His name is Jax. Close enough. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jackson. I think it's funny that because his full name is Jackson. I think it's kind of funny that he goes by Jax with an X. I mean, X's are cool, right? Confederacy is a dog whistle. Exactly, Annabees. Thank you. And my brain isn't working so well. I didn't get the full thought out there into the ether. Thank you, Mama. I'm my daughter's guest for YouTube Premium. You're allowed 5 guests. And I bet you're doing voice to text and it said guests instead of guest. Well, that's cool because, yeah, that's so expensive. Can you guys hear that thunder? Nobody has the right to take a life. I know. And it's just so disgusting. Like, I just can't imagine. I can't freaking imagine. Like, how do you freaking live with yourself? And I think a lot of people are ice cold and they don't effing care and it's not a problem. But then a lot of people don't realize how much it's going to fuck with them and haunt them. And they're not going to be able to live with themselves. They're not. And I've been cooking and listening. Ooh, what you cooking? I would love a professional do a group therapy session. I can't afford it. Oh, see, I think, yeah, like I said, I need my ideas to gel. But yeah, I think that would be something awesome that we could do. And, I don't know, like a Zoom call or what, but it could be like that could be like a member benefit, like for members to do. But yeah, I'm gonna think about it some more because I also, I like to offer things for the members only, and then I also like to have things available for everybody, of course. So the CATooZ call is what does it for me. It doesn't make sense. He was coached by his gramps to call it in to make a paper trail. Exactly. And just the way he's so hostile and he's like, oh, the woman was asking me all these stupid questions, like how many people are on the boat when I don't even know, because is Nolan a person or not? Is he dead or alive? I mean, seriously, like 8? No, like 7. Thanks, Jazzy, for explaining the AI thing. The A1, we were talking about A1 with Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education, how she did this whole presentation on A1 steak sauce, thinking that she kept saying A1. She was talking about AI in the classroom, but she just doesn't even know what she's talking about. And a chicken with garlic and a couple of tomatoes and linguine. Oh, that sounds so good. Yum. Absolutely. Okay, one more look at the notes and then we're out of here. Let's see. So many notes. You hear the thunder? So I loved it when those rat bastard boys were being interviewed by Brandon Tatum, and they were talking about getting spotted. Like, we can't even like go out. Like, we went out to eat, and we might get spotted. It's so revealing when they talk. They open their mouths and they say the stupidest things, like that. That's a perfect example. And then Warren goes on to say this girl like walked up to him and asked him if he was Warren Hudson, and he said no. And she went out to like her car, I think, and grabbed her phone and then pulled something up and showed it to him and said, "That's not you." And then he admitted that it was him. But I think that they all go out together too, which is even worse. But here they're like stressed out about getting spotted in restaurants when Nolan's deceased and his family must have the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And they did not get to spend his birthday with him, his first heavenly birthday. That has got to sting so bad, especially at that age. So young. It's just disgusting. I missed the question where Annabelle said, "Josh, what kind of din did you make?" But I saw the answer. Remember back when we had ragweed hay-I instead of hay-I? Did you just make that up, Josh? You are clever and crafty. That is hilarious. And there's that symbol again, Annabelle, the oh yum. That is funny. Funny. There's Javon's mom's name written down, Tashima. So Javon put up a post recently. Let me read it real quick and then we'll wrap. I think I took a screenshot of it on my phone. Javon's post. Let's see. Oh, so much crap on here. Let's see. I know I got it, but if I can't find it, then I just have to give up, huh? Yeah, I might have to give up. One more second. There were also a bunch of texts that Nolan's mother, Christine, has released recently. Okay. Yeah, I'm not finding the screenshot, but here, let me just show you for some funny screenshots just to have a good laugh at the end here. You know Trump's new hairstyle? You can see the critter. Isn't that cute? But yeah, the thing that I was going to say about Javon's post was when he said, I was never on that boat. Meaning, I think the boat that Nolan was unalived on. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if he was unalived on a boat or not. But here's another one of just on a funny note, the president's new wig. He's in a wind tunnel testing its ability to withstand the wind. And let's see. Here, nothing screams alpha male like a new wig in a ballroom. And here he is with his hair that got away. His hair's running down the middle of the street, and he's without his hair. He would actually look better without his freaking hair. Come on, dude. Get over your big old self. And then this was why he got the new toupee. And when is he going to say something about the Nolan Wells case? Like never? So can you see? Oh my God, it looks like it, you know, if he wouldn't do the comb over, like comb overs are just a bad idea. I mean, this is the back of his head. Like you probably think you're looking at like a female body part, but no, that would be the front of his head on the bottom of his neck, right? Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. So Bart's in big trouble. And Bart's little sister is a junior in high school, and she's a very talented volleyball player. And she's already being scouted by universities as a junior. And if he is involved in what I believe he is involved with, it's probably going to destroy her college athletic career, in my opinion. It shouldn't, because it's not her that did it, and she should be able to proceed with her life. But if he's that would be if he was being, say, accused of a crime and then run through the judicial system. But because of all the effery around it and what the parents are doing, you know, like, and just the whole thing with like trying to like get money out of the situation. It was Warren's dad who said he was putting up a $50,000 reward. I don't think he actually is following through on that. But then immediately after he said that, then the boys went and made that Give, Send, Go account where they've gotten probably over $200,000 by now from other white nationalists. Thanks for explaining the AI thing. But yeah, let's say goodnight. We're at 2.5 hours. I love you guys. I could go on forever just hanging with my homies. Warren doesn't look like he's been eating much. No, he was a slender guy to begin with. And I guesstimate that he's lost maybe as much as 30 pounds in 6 weeks. And he didn't really have any weight to lose. He didn't have any extra weight to lose, but looks to me like he's possessed by demons, quite frankly. I'm keeping my ponytail until I look sleazy. You don't do a comb over though, do you? The comb overs are just crazy. I think squirrels are better than comb overs. You know, just get some roadkill and plop it on top of your head. But as you can hear the thunder in the background, I'm going to sign off and enjoy the rest of this stormy night. Thanks so much for watching. You guys are the bomb diggity, and we'll see you soon.